Well, there was a big brouhaha when it was revealed that Donald Trump hasn't apparently paid taxes over the past 18 years, that he took tax deductions worth over $900 million and dodged having to pay taxes. And they created a big brouhaha. And what I discovered, and this is not a political commentary, this is an economic one, what I discovered is that the media got it mostly wrong. Donald Trump didn't do anything, based on what we know, and we only know based on the few pages that the New York Times published from his tax return of almost 20 years ago. Based on that information, Donald Trump did what pretty much everybody does. If you own a mutual fund, if you own a stock, a bond, if you own real estate, if you own any asset at all, you either make a profit on that asset or you sell it for a loss. It's one or the other. You either sell it for a gain or a loss. If you sell it for a loss, you're allowed to take a tax deduction. And if you have so much in losses that it exceeds your gains, you can use those losses in future years. And that essentially is what Donald Trump did. Now, he did it with $1 billion. You and I are not doing that. You and I are doing it with 10 grand or 20 grand or maybe a few $100 based on our financial situation. But if you're a mutual fund investor, you're using the very same tax law that Donald Trump used. And so for the media to say, this is terrible, it's a loophole, we've got to eliminate this abuse, well, if Congress were to go along with that, you and I and all investors in this country would lose a fundamental basic element of investing. So be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. Part of the controversy surrounding all of this is because Donald Trump has not been forthcoming about his tax returns, and it's forcing everybody to speculate about what's going on and assuming that if he's not being forthcoming with his tax returns, he must have something to hide. And so this is fueling the fire behind it. And what's important from a financial planning perspective is that we don't get caught up in the rhetoric, but we look at the facts of the situation. One of the other things that bothers me is that people are complaining that he took a tax deduction based on the tax code. Well, that doesn't bother me so much. What bothers me is if somebody is evading taxes. That's illegal. And he says he's been audited every year for 20 years. The IRS has never accused him of tax evasion, so I'm not quite sure that there's a big basis for us to be worrying about it. But the biggest issue is this. If we're going to complain that Donald Trump hasn't been paying much in taxes, we shouldn't be complaining that Donald Trump is using the tax code to lower his tax bracket. We should be complaining about Congress, which created the tax rules that Donald Trump is using. So the criticism doesn't belong on the taxpayer. The criticism belongs on the tax writer.